from Bolivia, great from Brazil, from Mexico. Oh, so nice. So many beautiful countries. Lovely to see so many. Oh, from Mendoza, Argentina. Oh, so many messages. Mexico City, Brazil. Chubut, Argentina, in the south of Argentina is so nice. Oh, Belo Horizonte, from El Salvador, from Colombia, from Mexico. Wow, we've got an amazing audience today. Well, so um, just to get started, while you keep chatting and sending us the place where you are, I will just I would like to share to start a poll for you. So you will be having right now, you will be able to see that there is a poll for you, and you can press yes or no. Okay, because we would like to know if you are currently teaching with Shine On. If not, don't worry, it's fantastic. But we would just like to let you know some more about you. So I've got already 2 answers. I would like to hear from you. Come on, there are so many of you. I am sure that, yeah, there are more coming. Great, awesome. I can see the numbers going up and down, up and down. Yes, no, yes, no. So I will give you some more minutes so that you find the poll and you can just click there. So yes, I will submit my answer there. Yeah, awesome. Great. So I will close the poll right now. And let's see. What's the... So we've got... okay, so 40% of our audience... yeah. So 40% of our audience was not or is not using currently Shine On, and the rest, they are using Shine On. So it's great. It's wonderful to see that. So without going, I know that we are on time, and I don't want to leave Griselda with little time because she loves teaching and telling you about this. So I would like to introduce you to Griselda Beacon. She holds an MA in Literature and Language from Philipps University in Germany, and she delivers teacher training workshops for OUP and NILE. She lectures in America literature at Universidad de Buenos Aires here in Argentina, and teaches contemporary literature, children's and young learners literature, creativity and drama, and teacher training colleges in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And I will add something more, which is that Griselda is the author of one of our books in Argentina that it is called Together. It is a series for young learners, for teens actually, and she has been working closely with Oxford University Press for quite a long time, and it is a pleasure for us to have her here today. So welcome, Griselda, and thank you very much for joining us and for joining all these beautiful audience that they are from many, many different places. I don't know if you have the chance to look at the chat box where they have been telling us where they were from.
Thank you, Sol. Thank you for the lovely presentation.
Yeah.
It's lovely. I mean, we've been working together for such a long time, and it's really nice to be doing this again and to be talking to so many teachers from so many different places. I was having a look while they were writing from Brazil, from El Salvador, from Mexico, Ecuador. I mean, so many, Argentina, lots of our people are there. So it's really wonderful. So thank you for the invitation to share my views on Shine On Plus. And please, everybody, feel free to write on the chat when you want to ask a question or anything. And there will be someone from Oxford University Press checking on the chat box, and providing the opportunity for us to give you an answer in case we when we finish the presentation. The way I'm going to work with is I will try to present a Shine On Plus series for more or less 50 minutes, and then we will have some 10 minutes for questions and answers if possible. So let's begin, because today the presentation is on diversity and flexibility in our English primary classrooms. I would like you to remember these two words, diversity and flexibility, because these are very strong points of Shine On Plus. So let's begin with the first slide. Let's play, think, learn, and shine together. And we have here Shine On Plus Bus with all the key words that, somehow summarize the ethos of the series. And this series has a flexible, meaningful, and fun way to teach young learners in diverse and inclusive teaching contexts. And this is important for us to know, because this idea of being meaningful and fun, enjoyable, when children get engaged and involved, how important that is for any learning process. It is also informed, or the series is informed, in the most contemporary approaches to teaching English in primary contexts. And that is really, really important, as we will see in a minute. Also, it has, engaging units. Units are, full of activities to play, to be creative, and hands-on experiential activities for children to do things while they are learning the language. And it somehow triggers creativity, but also critical thinking. And how do we do that? Through infographics, through cartoon stories, through drama-based activities, through cultural snapshots, songs, and community-based values, such as collaboration and inclusion. And finally, Shine On Plus series has enormous visual support and technological support for teachers and students. And there's a lot of extra material online in our Oxford English Hub, as you will see later on. So as you can see, the series is very, very rich in many ways. Now, I said that it is informed in the most contemporary approaches, and let me share which these approaches are. It is inspired by, or the book includes, the development of the 21st century skills. It is for children, for young learners. It is story-based. And it is a fantastic bridge to secondary school, so it is CLIL oriented. And all the time, diversity and inclusion and values will be part of the content. So it's a very challenging approach, and quite stimulating as well. These are the pedagogical, or this is the pedagogical framework and its intersections, as you will see. What do we mean when we say 21st century skills? What we mean is that children need to develop 4 basic skills. We know the skills every child needs to develop when they learn English, when they learn any foreign language, in our case, English. We know which 4 skills we always work with: speaking, reading, listening, and writing, right? Well, these are the basic linguistic skills. Now we need to add other skills for the children to be successful in the 21st century. And these skills are creativity. Children need to learn to share ideas, to trigger their imagination. When it comes to communication, now children need to learn to participate in meaningful interactions. When it comes to community-based values, collaboration, children need to learn to work together to achieve shared aims. And of course, critical thinking. Every child needs to learn to solve problems. So these 4 skills, these 21st century skills, need to be part of our approach when we teach in class. The whole series is or has a story-based approach. And I would like to start with this formulaic phrase, once upon a time. What happens when we hear once upon a time? All of a sudden, all of us, we are ready to listen to a story. And when we listen to a story, we are very, very active, right? We are active listeners. And sometimes we even participate in the construction of that story. Now, why is that? Because stories are part of our cultural heritage. Humans connect through narrative, through stories. We create the narrative of our families. We create the narrative of our life. We create the narratives of our communities. So see how much stories are part of who we are as society. So stories are a fantastic tool to be used in class to teach the language. So they are learning about stories and they are learning the language at the same time. And when learners read stories, what happens is that they follow a storyline. And that is amazingly good for memory, for remembering. And besides, the characters are relatable characters. They're characters they can connect. And that helps also for the remembering. Besides, when content is embedded in narrative, it creates meaningful learning contexts. And in our case, in Shine On Plus, for example, in Shine On Plus 1, 2, and 3, we have cartoon stories. And that is a fantastic visual support for the children to understand. I said that there was a third pillar, which was as important as the 21st century skills and the story-based approach, which is a CLIL-oriented approach. The CLIL-oriented approach basically says we need to teach content and the language integrated. And for that, we need to develop 4 C's. Culture, we need to pay attention to culture entries. So if I go back to a previous slide, you will see why here I wrote, in this slide, I wrote culture entries, right? And I also included project work and language focus. When we play, when we think, when we learn and shine together. So, having said that, we can come back to our slide. So culture becomes very, very important because when we learn a foreign language, immediately different cultures are part of our classroom. It is inherent to languages. So what a fantastic opportunity we have to talk about cultures and diversity and learning to respect diversity. Communication, cognition, and content. So if you look at the 4 C's that are part of planning CLIL lessons, many of them are also part of the 21st century skills, like communication or cognition, which could be critical thinking. CLIL-oriented approach also has a strong foot on visual support because what we teach are very often cross-curricular content, which is difficult in the learner's own mother tongue. Imagine in a foreign language. So you need a lot of support from visual elements such as images or pictures or photographs, graphs, maps, mind maps, tables, infographics, to help children organize the information and learn. And what CLIL approaches do, they intend to develop higher order thinking skills. That is, not only remembering and understanding, but also classifying, selecting, evaluating, having a discussion, a debate, and being able to create. Creating is the highest higher order thinking skills. And creating is obviously associated with creativity. So these are the pillars, and they are very much in an intersection, right? And you will see how this works in the book, because now we're going to move to the series. I said we needed to pay attention to the two words that were strong words in the title of this presentation: diversity and flexibility. Flexibility has a lot to do with us, with the pedagogical part, no? What to use, how to use it, how much of ourselves can we add to the book. But diversity has a lot to do with representation. And you will see how Shine On Plus has a strong foot here. It says, or I chose a quote to introduce diversity. And it says, it's an inherent trait of human beings as part of a plural identity, as a plural humanity, evidenced in identities, perspectives, cultures, beliefs, endeavors, contexts, intentions, needs, and languages. And if we pay attention to the diversity wheel that I put on the side, which was created by Marilyn Lawton and Judy Rosener in 1990, there are many, many aspects of ourselves in which we may be very different from other people. Now, Shine On Plus will have a strong intention to provide fair representation, especially when it comes to gender equality. And you will see boys and girls represented in the book for the children to connect, to relate, as well as there will be also fair representation in terms of ethnic minorities. Children who belong to specific ethnic minorities will have the opportunity in the book to be the main characters of the story, not secondary characters, but main characters, which again is very relatable for many of our students. Also, the book will try to create the same representation for mixed abilities and physical ability. So, bearing all of this in mind, let me show you the series. The series is composed of 5 levels. We have Shine On Plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Here, I would like to say something. First, Shine On 6 here will be available in 2023. So it is not available yet, but soon, in a couple of months, it will be available. The other thing I would like to say, especially because I was mentioning the CLIL-oriented approach to connect or to create like a bridge with secondary school, those of you who are in Latin America, maybe you would be interested to know a bit more about a program called Together for Success. So you could ask your educational consultant to tell you about this, because Oxford is working with 2 series. One is Shine On Plus, and for secondary, it would be Metro Second Edition, the one that accompanies the continuation of this series. And the reason is because Shine On Plus and Metro Second Edition, they both have the same pedagogical framework. So there is a little bit of a difference between the first 3 and the last 3, and it has to do with the moment the moment the books are used. So 1, 2, and 3 is for lower primary, whereas 3, 4, 5, and 6 is for upper primary. So let's begin with the lower primary part. That is Shine On 1, Shine On 2, and Shine On 3. Jose, we will keep your question for later on when we finish, so we can answer that question, right? Thank you for asking. Now, because you're asking about the equivalent on whether Shine On 6 will be the equivalent of Metro Starters, and we will answer that later on. Now, look at this. This is the beginning. This is the starter unit, and this is the first time that the story appears, no, with the cartoon story. And here, this is what I was saying about the ethnic fair representation, no, of minorities. And here we have our main character, the little girl, and her uncle, Uncle Alex. And Uncle Alex is a very clever scientist. And this is Jack, Lucy's friend. And so here we have the first story. What it does is it introduces the characters, the setting, and the situation. There's a lot of visual and oral input, and not written. It's, you know, you can hear the story, you can see the pictures, but there are no words, which I think is fantastic when the kids start to play with the sounds, right? When they start learning the language. And the characters have a lot to do with the children when they are in lower primary. Now, there is an element here which is interesting, which is the fact that there is a box and there is something inside the box. And what is inside the box is a robotic dog, which happens to be Lucy's pet. And so the children interact with this robotic dog, which is full of, you know, positive vibes. Now, if we, there is something here which says act it out, which I think is fabulous, because from the very beginning, the book will try to use multisensory learning, ask the children to move around, to represent, to act out the story, to use their kinesthetic abilities, and you can do something with that. You can take pictures of them doing it, or you can film them doing that, because then you can show parents or the community how the children are learning English and how they are using all of themselves in the learning. Now, the other thing I would like to show you is this picture here, which is the cover page. This cover page is interesting because, you know, the cover page is always a big picture which introduces the topic. But here it introduces a hook for the story, which is, you see the box here. And that box obviously is this box, which has this robotic dog called Megabyte. Now, you when you buy Shine On Plus, you teachers, you get the puppet, Megabyte as puppet. So it would be fantastic if you get a box, a cardboard box, you put Megabyte inside and you bring Megabyte in a box, like in the story, to the classroom. And though you can start playing with that and children can touch it, but they still don't know, and you won't open it because you want to read the story first. And so this is an opportunity for you to bring some of your ideas to interact with what the book offers. Now, look at this. This is also something that the story, that the series is very much interested, giving children the possibility to express themselves through art, in this case, because this unit is of this entry is about art, but also in hands-on practice. And here, when you give them these kinds of activities, like the one in the picture, in which the girl is creating with different materials, it could be wool, it could be plasticine, or some others, or I don't know, colors, etc. This girl here, and our students for that matter, we can explore our creativity and also flexibility, because every child will do a different thing. And we teachers learn to encourage children to explore their own potential. Every unit also has a review section. And I would like you to see the review section. This is a very nice activity for the children. They have all the toys they have learned in the unit, and they are asked to find them here and to color them. So this is a challenging activity, because the children need to develop observation skills to be able to find the toys within that messy picture. And that has a lot to do with paying attention, focusing, concentrating, which are necessary skills for children to thrive in the learning of a foreign language or of any learning content. Now, look at the activity afterwards. We have a boy and a girl playing a game. So here we have again meaningful communicative activities because they are creating a spinner wheel. And one of the spinner wheels has the toys and the other spinner wheel has the colors. So the one of them throws or makes the spinner wheel work, and when it stops, the other one says, well, color it red or blue or yellow. And so they need to work together to play. And if you see here, there is a sticker with the community-based values. And in this case, it's working together, and which is necessary to be, to show that in class and to be aware of this. So because we are teaching English, but we are teaching citizenship skills all the time, right? Citizenship education is like the umbrella term in which we all are, and we never forget that. Now look at this other activity. Every book offers 2 culture entries and 2 project work. Project work is a much more complex activity which requires more time to develop. And what I find here for the project work, something that I think is very, very interesting, which is the fact that the project work is very well guided. So children move from a very simple task to much more complex task, from a more controlled task to a freer task within the same project. So the final idea here is that the children can draw anything they want using shapes, because they have been working with shapes and they have been detecting shapes in the world that is around them. Now, the first activity is simply to finish the other side of the shape. So here they have a circle and they finish the circle, the square, the triangle, the rectangle. So the children revise the vocabulary and do the activity, and so it's getting into the task. And then I was thinking, what else can we do? But because books give you some ideas, but then it is our own ideas, and we need to have this possibility to jump ourselves in. And that's what I do all the time with every book. And I love it. I think it's a great opportunity to do that. And so in this case, I was thinking, what would I do to expand? And I said, or to bring myself in. So I had ideas like, for example, I would ask students I will come to class with lots of shapes in a box or in a bag, shapes of ink foam, big, small, different colors. And I would say, children, look, and I would spread them all on the floor and say, now the whole class, please sit around and try to create something together. I don't know what they will do, and it will be a bit messy at the beginning, but they will get, into it and organize themselves. If you do not want to be that messy, perhaps you can ask them to bring shapes from home, and then you organize them in small groups and you say, share the shapes you brought and see what you can create on your table. And so it's like the same activity, but on a smaller scale, right? And in that way, you do what the book suggests and you add a little bit of yourself, because the truth is that each one of us teachers, we have lots of ideas and we know our context. So we need to learn to interact with the book and bring our own into. For example, what I thought, I am very, very kinesthetic, right? And I do a lot of drama and things of the sort. And so in this case, in particular, I decided to go physical. And so I said to my student teachers, let's do this. And I asked them to do 3D shapes with their bodies. So in this case, they did a diamond and a square. And it was interesting because there wasn't much of a difference between the square and and the diamond. So we were discussing, but what is the difference? Well, it depends where you stand, because if you stand on an axis, then it's a diamond. But if you stand on a side, they could be a square. So we were having fun with that. The other activity I came up with for 2D shapes is I asked them, we went outside and I asked them to draw the shapes of their bodies on the floor with a piece of chalk. And then I said, now all your bodies need to be covered with shapes. Use the shapes you want. And then, of course, they shared it with another one, and they described, look, the palm of my hand is a circle, then the fingers are ovals, then the arms are rectangles, and so on and so forth. And it was a very hands-on activity, and physical as well, and they remembered it. And taking pictures helps me to share it with the community, like in this case with you. And then I said, can you do it 3-dimensional? And they said, of course. And they did, for example, a prism. Here you can see the prism, the smaller one and a bigger one. Or this one was an inverted pyramid. And this one was a cone, for example. Well, this is what they said they did. And I found it was very refreshing. Now, let me show you this, because the book has, every unit has a lot. And it's lovely, and I love that. In this case, for example, we're going to start working with animals. And so the book offers the possibility to use stickers. So that the book has stickers for the children to use. And we know how much children love stickers. We adults love stickers. We put stickers on the computers, on the cell phones. If I show you my cell phone, look, I will. Look, it's full of stickers, you see? Full of stickers. So why not children? So they learn the names of the animals and they use the stickers. Exactly, Jose, they are crazy about stickers. So this is a good activity for them to have fun and to start getting involved. Also, there's a lot of chants and songs, no, to work with the rhythm and to help children remember the vocabulary through the rhythm. And there is always a small amount of words that are introduced every time. Here it's only 6 animals. And then there is here a little, Jack is here in a very little, very tiny, and Jack has a drawing of 2 hands. And then it says, find it. So the children need to go all over the page to see whether they can find these hands. And then, well, you will decide, because I found like different hands. I found the hands of the lion, and I found the hands of the monkey, and I also found the hands of the little person here. So we don't know exactly which they are, but it's interesting for the children to start observing. There is another thing that Shine On Plus has in every unit, which is an instance for children to start learning to do self-assessment. This has a lot to do with autonomy, when they understand, when they know how they learn. No, this is really, or when they become aware that they are learning. So that is really, really good. And in this case, it is always with this yellow star, and it says, be a mega star. And here, what it says is simple. Close the book and say, tell me how many words you remember. And now I'm going to do it like this. And I will ask you to see how many animals you remember from that. And I didn't give you any chance, but you are all adults. Let's see if you remember some of the animals that appeared in this self-assessment activity. I will give you a minute to write. Of course, I was very tricky, because I didn't give you time, and I didn't give you the time to be observing. Nobody's a monkey. Jose saw a monkey. Fantastic. Monkey, lion, giraffe. Oh, look, Agustina knows 4. Lion, zebra, hippo, giraffe, monkey, right, elephant, lion. Okay, let's go to the lion. Let's go to the page again and see. Well, it's the giraffe that you notice, the hippo. Oh, nobody mentioned the snake, the zebra, the lion, and the monkey. Right. Oh, poor snake. Nobody saw her. Nobody saw the snake. Fernanda did. Fernanda did. Well, so you see how you can play, no, with the children with a page like this, and how they start noticing, observing, and becoming aware of their own learning process through this activity. Now, here is more of the same thing, but I wanted to show you how then, even for the language focus, when the words have been already introduced and the children have practiced the vocabulary through songs, the last activity is again an activity in which they learn by doing, a very hands-on and creative. Janina says that she mentioned all of them. Thank you, Janina. Wonderful. You know how it goes. Now look at this one. The children create a mini book, which is called their animal book, and there are lots of possibilities to create the mini books. And so in that way, they will remember the animals because they will draw the animals, they will color the animals, they will write the names of the animals in their mini books. And then they can keep the mini books at school to use for other things. And then if you have fast finishers, because we always do have them, in the book, in the activity book, there is not in the activity book in this case, at the end of the student's book, there is extra practice in which they have to match the other side of the face, right? So if somebody finished their animal book quickly, they can go to the extra practice. It's extra practice. Not everybody has to do them, right? It's something you may choose to include or not. Yes, the children love the animals books, absolutely. Yes. Finally, I said at the very beginning when I was introducing the critical thinking skills, I was all the time mentioning that interactions have to be communicative interaction had to be meaningful, and if possible through play, right? Lots of role playing, drama based activities. And in this case, it's not a drama based, but it is a fantastic communicative activity. It's the consolidation of communication. It's great because the children they have to work in pairs. It's compulsory. It's an activity in which you have to work with somebody else. And in this case, children have different information. So they have to share different information to be able to complete their tasks. For example, this one needs to complete this monster, but the information is this one that student B has. In the same way, this is the monster that this student has to create, and the information is here. And they also have the possibility to do something by themselves, right? Which is they color this on their own in the way they want. Yes, they color this one and the other one colors this one. And then the students need to color the other one with the information that this one gives. So if a child here colors the chair red, then this student will have to do the same, asking what color is the chair. And so in that way, the information circulates. In this way, this is really meaningful because there is a lack of information here which needs to be filled, but this information is on the other side. So they do not pretend to be doing something, they are actually doing it. And I think that is the key here. Now, let me show you now the change in tone, in a way, when we move on to upper primary. No, when we are with Shine On Plus 4, 5, or 6, which, as I said, will be available in 2023. Here we have more grown-up children, no? And so the stories have to be different, the characters have to be different, and the activities need to be a little bit more challenging for their age level. So here we go. This is the cover page, which introduces the unit topic. And basically it is the starter unit, and what it introduces is the new story the new story line, basically, and the new characters and the new context. And what we have is a junior crew. It's Lily, it's Charlie, and it's Joe. They're friends, and they are young reporters. And they work for a news station, and this is Amy. So they report to Amy. And what they need to do is they go on different adventures to investigate a topic in their local area. So here we are working with environmental issues, and there's a lot related to global citizenship education, no? Which has to do with taking care of the environment, which we know the need to do that. Everybody needs to be embarked in environmental, in protecting our environment so we can all live in this world. Not only us, but also the animals, the plants, and the rest. So let's see how it works. There is something that I find always very attractive, which is the cover page. Now, the other one was the cover page for the story-based, but in this case, the story-based line. But in this case, it's in Unit 3, it's about the ocean. So the topic will be related to ocean life. And so look at the big cover page. It's very, very attractive in terms of the colors and the what it shows, right? And so the children can start, making hypotheses of what they are going to deal with in this unit. And when it comes to the story, it is about rescuing a dolphin. So that they are going, they're looking for topics to report, and what they find is that the dolphins are all very crazy, so they're making a lot of noise. So why are they making that noise, right? Because this one needed help. And so they called for the people who help the animals in the ocean, and this lovely dolphin was rescued. And that's the end of the story for this episode. There will be other episodes in the future. And then they have to do lots of CLIL-oriented activities. They are working with the ocean, so they are working with ocean habitats. So there's a lot of natural science here. And they have to read information which comes in these infographics, right? And they have to complete the activity picking up information from these squares. Now, having the information distributed like this makes it accessible and more approachable in terms of reading than a long chunk of text. And that is the importance of including infographics, right? At the same time, the teachers receive posters that they can use to hang on the walls. So whenever you change the topics, you can change the posters. And as you know, there are extra pages to consolidate learning for fast finishers, or whether you want to include them or not. They are there for you to use. And then comes the project. The project for this unit, which is very, very interesting, I would say. The project is creating a diorama. So a kind of model of life in the ocean. So the children need to create this diorama, which is a very nice activity, and it's very much used in primary school. It's very 3D, three-dimensional, right? And it has movement, and the children can bring a lot of themselves, all the material they bring from home and what they find as well, like pieces of like stones or pebbles or, well, whatever they want to bring to create their diorama. And again, to come to this, there are lots of things that they need to do. And in this case, this activity, for example, is fantastic. It's a clear CLIL activity in which what is triggered is cognition, critical thinking, or higher order thinking skills. Why? Because they are given a lot of animals here. There's a starfish, there's a turtle, there's a jellyfish, there's a shark, there's a coral, and there's a crab. And the question is, and I will ask you, because we don't need to know this information. I mean, we're learning this together with the children sometimes. The question is here, Which of all of these is a fish? Is it the shark or the crab or the corals or the turtle or the starfish or the jellyfish? Which is the fish? Or which of these are fish? Let's see if you can answer on the chat. Haha, shark, starfish, sharks. Okay, wonderful. You're writing the shark. Yes. Okay, the only fish is the shark, but the activity is very tricky because the jellyfish, it says jellyfish, so you assume it will be a fish, but it's not. Or the same with starfish. It says starfish, and again, you may be confused. So you can start, working with the children here with selecting, categorizing, classifying. All of these are all higher order thinking skills. Finally, the last part of the project is not only to create the diorama or the model, but also to present the model in class. So part of the project is to develop oral presentation skills. So how do you help your children to do that? Well, there is a video of a child introducing his own model to the class. So the children see the video. You give them formulaic phrases for them to use, and so they can integrate those formulaic phrases into their speech. Then they write their speech, and then they practice their speech, and then they say it. So there's a lot of all the classical linguistic skills that we use in this activity, plus the content, cross-curricular content related to the ocean. So you see how many skills your learners are learning in your English class through English. And these are some examples of infographics to show you how they learn a lot about different topics through these kinds of infographics, how helpful they are for learning difficult vocabulary or vocabulary that is specific more than difficult, no? Like, for example, taking the pulse or expressions that have to do with specific areas of knowledge. But in that way, through the infographics, they become much more accessible. You have the drawings, you have the different expressions here, and in that way the children are learning all of these. And here are some mind maps to introduce sports, how to take care of your health, right? Sports is part of taking care, but for example, drinking water, not being careful not to be dehydrated, no, wearing a cap when you are in the sun so as to protect your your body from the sun. And here is using Venn diagrams when you are talking about differences and similarities, how easy it is to create, to work with differences and similarities when you create a Venn diagram. So these are all tools that we give children for them to organize also their own information, the one they want to share. I just wanted to finish with this picture because this one and the next one, because I found the picture very colorful, attractive, and at the same time very informative. Look at all the places in the world where English is spoken as a first language. So it opens up possibilities for the children to see the world around them, right? It's in Canada or in the United States of America or in Ireland or in England or in Australia or in New Zealand. So you see, and if you hang this poster on the walls, the children become much more familiar with this, and it opens up their mind in many ways. Um, Gisela says, I really like these books. Oh, that's wonderful. I think they are what we need to get students involved. And I think we need to scaffold students in a very different way as we used to do it before the pandemic. Wonderful. Great. Thank you so much for this great presentation. Thank you. Thank you for liking it. For more than liking it, what I would like is that it is useful for you as teachers. Now, to finish, this is also this is the self-assessment process. Remember the one we did with the 6 animals in book 1? Well, this is book 4. See how complex it has become. So children can self-assess or can assess themselves in a much more challenging and complex way. And this self-assessment is cognitive, and also, I mean, it requires a lot of cognitive processes, as well as it's fun and interactive, because it says, for example, make actions for your friend to find out what you mean. So you need to use your body in a kind of kinesthetic activities. It's not only writing sentences with I can or I can't, but it's also interactive activities you need to plan, tiny activities you need to plan for somebody else to do. And then you have your score. Yeah, so you know whether you have done wonderfully or whether you still have to devote more time to your learning as a student. So with this, I would like to move on a little bit to not the pedagogical, but your resources, what you have. The teachers, all the teachers will get the students' book and the workbook plus the teacher's book with all the possible suggestions on how to work with the material. But you will also get the megabyte puppet. Imagine megabyte puppet. If you can create a project in which Megabyte goes to visit the children's homes, and so Megabyte goes there, and the children come with pictures with the family, with the neighbors, with the friends, or Megabyte in the living room or watching TV, or Megabyte in the dining room having lunch with the family, Megabyte enjoying their outdoor activities. So it becomes like a hook again for English to be present at home and to be present at school, and to give importance to what we are doing every day in the classroom. So we get Megabyte, we get story cards, we get flashcards, and we get posters. And we have the Oxford English Hub online with all the material, which is great. Now have a look. Here with the students, all the students will have the book, and as well they will have the hub code for 2 years with access to online practice and students' resources. And you as teachers will have everything plus a code for 4 years access. And there you have, in the hub, you have all possible activities you can use. And so the book offers, for those contexts where it's low tech, the printed book with everything, and the puppet and the cards and everything. When you work in a context which is high tech, you can use the printed book and the puppet and this, plus all the possibilities of online work. And I think that, having said all of this, remember, it's Oxford English Hub. Having said all of this, I can only say thank you, and I am ready here to answer your questions if you have some. Also, I would like to ask, hello, Sol. I would like to ask Sol to answer some questions in case they are more
Yes, of course.
technical.
I'll be here with you along the way till the end. Don't worry. So we've got we've got so many questions. So first of all, thank you very much, Griselda, for all of the information that you have shared with us and all of the beautiful ideas. So first, we've got Violeta. Violeta is asking about why the activity book don't have answer, and all the answers are on the teacher's book, and this is because if not, kids are going to be looking at the answers beforehand. So
Yes,
I think that it is fair to say that it is part of the learning process, not giving them just the answer. That is why I think that we create
yes,
the teacher's book with the answers. So that is done. But Violeta, if you have any further question, of course, not only you but all of the people that it is joining on this webinar, please make sure that if you've got any question, you have the contact, the cell phone, or the email to your local educational consultant so that you can get in touch with that person and solve any kind of query that you may have. The other question is from Jose. Jose, I was looking for Shine On Plus level 6 scope and sequence, and you've got it on the handout, okay? So I uploaded for you so that you can check and see which is the extension and which are the topics that Shine On Plus Level 6 is covering, and you can then make the comparison with Metro Starter. But I suggest that you get in touch with your educational consultant and you have a conversation about how Shine On Plus and Metro Second Edition are matching perfectly well. Uh, then I've got Agustina. Agustina is asking, Gri, I am answering all the questions. I'm sorry. I am
no,
I am
that's great.
running through
Thank
them.
you. That's great. I talked a lot, so
But
it's great.
this is something that you may want to jump in. Agustina was asking if Shine On Plus is with capital letters, is written in capital letters.
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Yes, I forgot to mention that. Thank you, Agustina. Yes, that's a great. It's because in Argentina, in primary school, when they
Mhm.
start learning to read, they start with capital letters and then they move to capital and lowercase. So as it is thought for the whole primary section, the first books appear or follow this trend for
Mhm.
that reason. So it doesn't the children that don't get confused
Yes.
in that sense. So yes, it's to accommodate the book to the needs of the local context.
Great. Fernanda is saying something lovely. Thank you, Fernanda. She's saying, "Can I send you a picture of Megabyte with my students?"
Ah, yes,
So, Fernanda, the answer is absolutely yes, but please make sure that all of the parents have signed off to and have agreed on sharing their children's image, let's say. But we are not going to share it widely. So you can just share that picture with us, or you can share it with your educational consultant, just for us to have fun and see how
um,
wonderful your students are doing with Megabyte. Megabyte is, I just to mention this, Megabyte is the puppet is within the teacher resource pack that it is from level 1, 2, and 3. Okay,
yes,
just
yes, of course, yes,
to mention.
because that's when the stories work with Megabyte. Then
Yeah.
we have the reporters. Now there is something about the pictures. You have to be very careful because sometimes we put faces, we put emoticons on the faces as I did, but
Mhm.
mine were adults and they all agreed, but still I did it. But when they are children, sometimes even if you use the emoticons, parents don't want to show their bodies, no? And so in that case, you need to make sure whether families agree. And you can say that you're going to use emoticons and everything to
Mhm.
make sure before you share any picture of children to
Yes.
protect their identity.
Yes.
I don't know whether we mentioned, but on the chat box there is a link for you to download a free copy, a free access for Shine On Plus.
Mhm.
I think it is book one, right?
Yes, it
Uh,
is level 1. You can
yes,
access to the Oxford English Hub. Actually, Agustina was asking how to access. So if you click on the link, you will find a data collection form. There you will have some fields for you to complete with your information, name, surname, email. the country that you are, and you will automatically receive one email with a code and the step-by-step guide for you to get into Oxford English Hub and find Shine On Plus there. So you will have Shine On Plus level 1 for you to enjoy into the hub. So you will be getting both things together, the access to the hub and the access to Shine On Plus into the hub, which is amazing. Come on. So yeah, to get into the hub, you should click on the link that it is on the chat box, and then you should complete the information there. And once that it is complete, make sure that you go into your email and check, because you will, for sure you will receive an email from Oxford University Press saying,
Yes.
hello, welcome to the hub, here is your free code, and this is how you can access to the hub and see Shine On Plus into it. Finally, we've got another question. Let me see. Okay, thank you. Many people saying thank you, Gri. It was amazing.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Elizabeth is asking about the workbook, and of course, she's asking, are they going to have some different activities? Yes, yes, of course, yes. So the workbook is it is actually helping to combine the different features of the series, let's say, but of course, there are differences between the activity book and the workbook. So I suggest that you have this conversation with your educational consultants to see how the activities are different. The units, of course, they go together as always, but the activities are different. The kind of material that you've got there and the vocabulary might be the same, but the type of activities are different from one another, and of course they are worth having together. There is another a last question for Romina. Romina is asking about, my question is whether this book is appropriate for bilingual school or if it is more targeted to language training school. I would say that the amount of hours that Shine On Plus was more appropriate. Maybe it could be, I don't know what you call bilingual, because it
Yeah.
might, that term might differ from country to country. Um, but I will say that if you are using Shine On Plus, maybe you are teaching, you've got 3-4 teaching periods out per week.
Yes.
So I don't know if that fits into your bilingual program or not. But well, that is
Yes,
everything.
that is. It could be between 3 and 4 40-minute teaching periods
Yeah.
per week.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
you. I mean, they come to class either twice a week or two or three times, and it's a short period, and so there is a certain regularity, and the book works very well in that context.
Hmm. Great. So I think that that's all. Please let me know, Cynthia, Shader, which are helping us from Oxford University Press, and they are here to support us. Let me know if I have missed any question, or if we have been through all of them. Uh, but
We
of
had
course,
a question for a new poll. Remember, I didn't ask, and I would like to ask now before we go for those who stay here. I would like to know whether, I mean, we teachers during the pandemic years, we somehow became familiar with lots of technological tools, and we used a lot of technology in our classes. I would like to know whether now, in post-pandemic times, whether you are still using a lot of technology or not, or whether you came back to the old days, or whether you think that you have become more of a prof now with technology, or whether you still prefer the old ways. I don't know, just for us to know in what way the impact of technology had on us because of the pandemic.
mhm.
It would be very nice to hear what you say about that. Let's see what they write. While they are writing, thank you, Sol, for everything.
Thank you.
Uh,
Yeah.
it was a pleasure to talk about this series, and I hope that teachers teachers appropriate the series
Yeah.
and put themselves in with their own ideas to interact with the book.
Yeah, me too. So thank you very much. I think that still using technology
Good.
worldwide, Kahoot, Mentimeter. Okay.
Yes, I still use it. Good. So Jose says that technology is present more than before. I
Yeah.
prefer your way, says Adriana. Yes, yeah, it's that's why we ask a combination of both. Infuse the classroom presentation tools a lot. I use technology.
Hmm.
Technology, yes, okay. I'm still using most of them, such as online games, videos, phonics. Excellent, great. We still use it, but not in every class. Excellent, great. So yes, it's been people are using them. Yeah, very good.
What Sabrina is saying is interesting that that teaching with technology should be always be present. I mean, technology should
Yes.
always be present